Just gonna do a quick video here because I feel like it's better to show than just a bunch of pictures. But here's the batter side. I'm gonna try and do the reso side too, but it's actually this batter side bearing edge is pretty nice. Like it's not abused or anything, and the only real anomalies seem to be just the manufacturing, and I'll get to that in a second. There's no real nicks like we talked about. There's just like that sort of, it's hard to get this to focus, that sort of minor flea biting that happens on the poplar ply because it's an end grain. So this is what I was talking about. If you run your finger along the top, there's no real dip, but just this weird bulge. I don't know what people call that, but that's common in these 3-ply shells. I've noticed Ludwigs tend to be the worst from this era, because I had some 60s Ludwigs that definitely it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as much of a, basically what it is, when you get the head on, you'll see it's like fatter here. So there's like a flat spot and then a dip, but the top of the bearing edge is consistent. So it's really, all this really affects is how it seats in the collar of the head. And like I said, this drum, all right, so here we go. There's a little tiny bit of denting. I don't know if that could be steamed out. Obviously, if you put a new bearing edge on these, they'd be fine. But if you want to keep them original, I'm gonna say that's less than 1 millimeter deep. But like, you know, if you run your finger along this, there's a couple little tiny, you know, indentations, but no missing wood, if that was your question. Inside smells nice. There's no musty. It wasn't left in a wet environment. There's no shell separations at all. The hoop is fine. This decal's lifting off a little bit. Original muffler, that's all original. The only stuff that's not original are most of the tension, well, slightly over half of the tension rods. I had, I think, almost all of them for the bottom. This drum was used without the bottom head for a long time. So any of the dings inside are probably from nesting the drums inside one another. There's no real big gouges, but it's definitely not the most perfect thing in the world. Like, I don't know if you can see that, there's some like scuff marks, just sort of, you know, indentation, but not like, there's no splintering or like dings or digs. It's just like, you know, scuffs from use. Like here's a little bit of action on this inside here. It just looks like light scuffing. You know, nothing major. So that's it. Yeah. The only other weird thing is the wood does look kind of darker than I would normally expect maple to look, but I wonder if that's just the lacquer just aged over time. But it doesn't look like it was stained or painted. It's kind of hard to see. When you see it in person, you'll go, oh, that's the color of the wood. But for some reason in videos and pictures, it looks like somebody maybe stained it. But when you see it up close, it really does look like just a nice piece of maple, like a nice amber piece of maple. In fact, there's tiger striping and quilting on the bottom hoop, which is like, that's a really nice piece of maple. Anyway, so yeah, it's got some wear. It's definitely freaking old. I'm gonna flip it and do a quick video of the bottom bearing edge. I wish I could get some more close-up video of the bearing edge. Oh, this is working as long as I keep focusing it. I can tell you this was lifting a little bit. This was like lifting and peeling back a little bit. I had it professionally re-glued. They used the proper contact adhesive and glued and clamped that up, and then we did a gentle buffing with that plastic compound, the plastic buffing compound, but just minorly. That is a little stain that looks like stain in the lacquer that they put on the inside. There's the seam. Anyway, I hope you can see what you need to see from this video, and I'm going to apologize for my bare feet if they end up in the video. But that's really the worst of it on this side. I'm gonna guarantee that the Rezo side isn't as nice as this, but we'll do that in a second.